Welcome to another edition of DX Engineering Videos. We're here today in Tallmadge, Ohio at the headquarters of DX Engineering, and we're very pleased to have a very special guest with us today. This is Pat Barkey, N9RV. Hello, Pat.
Hello, Tim.
Nice to have you here, Pat. You know, you've been in ham radio for a long time. You've been active in contests and some DXing work, but not many people know how you got started. So how did it all happen for the young N9RV?
Well, it's pretty simple. I was a kid, and my best friend in the summer, we would play together as wee toddlers. And growing up in Michigan, what happened a lot is families went to the northern part of Michigan for cabins all summer. So my best buddy would leave every summer and take off. And we thought, well, how could we communicate with each other? And so we got a catalog, and it was full of CB radios. And we looked at all these things and thought, these are great. You know, we were just kids in catalogs. And we were kind of talking about this. And my friend said, well, wait a minute, my neighbor's a ham. He might tell us which one of these CB radios we should buy. And so we knocked on his door, and he sort of, smirked when he saw the CB radios. And he took us down to his shack, and he picked up his microphone, and he made a contact with Puerto Rico, just like that. And I said, that's neat. And it turned out that I was smitten. I got my radio, my license. My friend never did. But the rest, as they say, is history.
So how old were you?
I was probably, at that point, I was 11.
Okay.
Coming up on 12.
And so you go through high school, and you're on the air now, and you had to upgrade,
Had to.
What year was it that you got licensed?
I got licensed in 1967.
67. So you go through high school, and comes time to make a college decision. And does amateur radio enter in it at all?
Well, it's funny, colleges recruit people in different ways. I was recruited on the air. I had a contact with a guy named Steve Culp, QKY. He was at the W8UM club station, which is University of Michigan. And he told me about their antennas.
Said you should come here.
And I was thinking of going there anyway, and that sealed the deal.
Were there any other hams that you might have known that were already at the University of Michigan?
There were many. Well, one was then W8FAW, now N4KG. He was coming back to graduate school. And there were some other contesters, probably not too well-known calls. I spent enough years at W8UM to have people like N2IC and W2PA kind of cycled through there while I was there. So there was really a buzz there in terms of operating. That was kind of the heyday of college club stations and everything good and bad that went with that.
So you do your undergrad there, and then you decide to go to graduate school.
Right.
At the University
At Michigan, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you do your PhD there as well.
Right. I sort of tailed off with the radio stuff in there someplace. I had to get a few things done professionally. But during that time, W8UM sadly went from a kind of an S-line and Yaggies and all that sort of stuff to a situation where they were hardly even on the air by the time I left.
Wow. But you spent 8 years there.
Oh, yes. we don't count.
And so then where does life take you after you finish at Michigan?
Well, let's see. I got out of Michigan and I went to Indiana, and I got a job at Indiana University, and that was a great spot to be a ham. I wasn't very active there in terms of my own station, but I remember the great thing about ham radio is, as you know, wherever you go, you know people. And I really didn't know anyone in Indiana, but I knew some call signs, and one of them was W9RE. And I never forget, I had a phone call with Mike, who's been a friend to this day. And Mike is a very kind of low-key guy. And I said to Mike, hey, I'm moving to Indiana. I have a job here at Indiana University. And there was this pause and this, oh. And there wasn't much enthusiasm there. And then he explained to me, he says, well, Ann, his wife, Ann and I went to Purdue, And I said, oh, yeah, Purdue, yeah, that's another great university. Yeah, I didn't appreciate the intense rivalry. between Indiana and Purdue. So we got over that, and I got plugged in with a great group there.
And so, fast forward a little bit, you end up in Montana now.
Yeah, I've been kind of a university rat now most of my career, and so I ended up going out to University of Montana. It was a great job, great location, certainly a lot of different propagation. I will note that as we sit here in Tallmadge in Zone 4, CQ Zone 4, I am also, after, which would be about a 1,900-mile drive from here, still in Zone 4.
And so you constructed a station there, and you do quite well. Some of the sweepstakes stuff has been phenomenal.
Well, I think a trained monkey can run sweepstakes from Montana, quite frankly. I mean, the combination of the multiplier and the propagation, of course, it's a lot of fun. I always enjoyed sweepstakes, but I like it a lot more now that I'm competitive at it. It's kind of human nature.
Right.
It presents some interesting challenges. One of the challenges, by the way, for ham radio, which you tend to take for granted here in the Midwest, is that the distance to other hams is huge. So ham fests, I don't go to ham fests anymore. We don't have them. There aren't enough people.
Right.
Those are kind of, on the edge in some areas anyway. But so that presents its own challenges. The internet has been great for that. One of the things that really helped bring Montana hams together was the W1AW portable operations during the centennial. That was, or whatever that was. Yeah. So that was really a wonderful opportunity to meet my fellow operators across the state. We had a lot of fun organizing that. Out of that, we formed the Big Sky Contesters, and we're trying to, get people of all skills and ability going. But everyone from Montana knows one thing, and that is when you get on the air and you say you're from Montana, you get a lot of QSL cards, you get a lot of people calling you. I've gotten used to that, and it's been fun.
So you just finished a stint as the editor of the National Contest Journal. So how did that go?
That was a labor of love. I said no when they first asked me to do it once. I said I was too busy, and it was one of the stupidest things I ever said because everyone's busy.
Right.
So I mean that's just a pathetic excuse, and I felt horrible. So when the chance came around again, I did it, and I say it was a pleasure working with everybody at ARRL. They were just wonderful people to work with, and the contest community really owns that journal, and they took care of me. And all I did was sign my name to it and ship it out the door, and it was a great experience. The well got a little dry sometimes. Sometimes I had to tell people that their articles weren't very interesting. Not too often, but every now and then you have to do things like that, and that made me probably less than popular. But overall, it was a great experience, and it was great to give back and be involved and really kind of keep the official voice of contesting going for another 3 years. I don't think I screwed it up. It's still going. So mission accomplished.
And so this July, you will go to Germany and participate in the World Radio Team Championship. So what's it like to be on a team with a W6?
Oh, it'll be fun. First off, you have to, as you know, as my former teammate, Tim, you know that I'm a high maintenance teammate, so there's a lot of things required, and yeah, Larry Tyree N6TR is going to be great. I personally, the competitive spirit in me really is getting at it. It bothers me to see someone else named the #1 person in my region, so that's kind of my competitive edge, trying to do that. It remains to be seen whether I can channel that same competitive energy to actually doing well at the competition itself. That has yet to be proven, but it's certainly an honor to represent the U.S. and the West Coast as some of my other colleagues, including yourself, coming from the U.S. And as we know, those are kind of lifetime moments. With the things that happen at those WRTCs, they stick with you forever. And it's going to be really fun to be able to go to another one.
Well, Pat, thanks very much for coming in and spending some time with us today here in Tallmadge, Ohio. And thanks to all of you for watching another edition of DX Engineering Videos.